Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's Training Industry Leader Talk, Creating Training Content with AI, sponsored by Camtasia, ComLab India, DID, GP Strategies, and Neovation Learning. I'm Emma, a marketing associate here at Training Industry, and I'm thrilled to have you with us here today. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items to help you interact with our speaker and get the most out of today's program. Throughout today's event, please feel free to use the chat for comments and submit questions in the Q&A panel. All the questions will be addressed during the event or at the end of the program during our Q&A section. Once the session ends, a brief survey will appear in your browser, so please take a moment to share feedback on the session and the speaker. And as always, all of our sessions are being recorded and archived on trainingindustry.com, and you will receive a follow-up email with a link to the on-demand sessions. If this is your first Training Industry event, we'd like to welcome you. Training Industry exists to make connections among learning and development professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in L&D through live events like today's Leader Talk, as well as through articles on our website, our magazine, conferences, research reports, our podcast, and more. We would also love to hear what you've learned from today's session on social media. So please give us a follow on your favorite platforms so we can continue the conversation there. And now, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers, Dave McCollom and Stephanie Warnhoff from TechSmith. Dave has spent the last 20 years at TechSmith exploring how people can learn and how technology can make that easier. He's worked in research, customer evangelism, customer success, and product management, always chasing the sweet spot where real customer needs meet smart tools. And Stephanie is a senior market research analyst at TechSmith, where she has spent more than 15 years digging into what customers need, why they make decisions, and how to turn those insights into better products and experiences. Dave and Stephanie, it's so great to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Emma. Again, I am Stephanie Warnhoff, and I am a market research analyst here at TechSmith. So I spend my workdays writing and analyzing survey data, interviewing customers, reading comments, all with the goal of providing voice of the customer research back to our organizations so that we can make better data-driven decisions. I'm really excited today to share with you research we completed around AI voices and AI avatars in learning videos.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave McCollom. I'm the research manager at TechSmith. Stephanie and I are a two-person team, and we share a lot of responsibilities, so I won't really get into a deep list of those things. But one thing that's, I think, interesting about where we're at is our work is uniquely tied to the training industry because TechSmith makes a lot of the software that trainers are using to create training documentation and videos. You may have seen the Camtasia logo in the corner. Camtasia and Snagit are a couple of our products. And if you're here today, you're likely aware that AI is having a significant and ever-increasing impact on the video creation process. And while AI is definitely helping people make video faster, what we're really interested in is how can AI help you make effective videos faster? And Emma, just one note, I was not able to share sound when I went to share my screen. We do have some clips. So I don't know if it's possible to change that. We can work around it, but let me know. We might have to do some explaining, but
Sure,
we're going
I'll
to
take
keep
a look
rolling
at
for now.
that. I'll take a look at that, see
Okay.
if I can figure it out.
All right. Thank you. Anyway, so we were talking about how AI can help you make effective videos faster, which of course, as you might expect, brings us to hot sauce. I'm going to go with sriracha in this case, but you can feel free to plug in your own hot sauce of choice. And now you are probably wondering why we're talking about hot sauce in a presentation about AI voices and avatars. Well, I think it's actually a really good metaphor for the current state of many AI video tools today. Just thinking about it, I think it's great. I love sriracha on eggs. I love it on stir fry. I love it on a lot of other things, but I do not love it on everything. I'm gonna draw the line at, say, chocolate chip pancakes, for example, here. And this is where I see the parallels start to show up. There seems to be a lot of pressure when it comes to AI and video to put hot sauce on your chocolate chip pancakes. When you have a lot of videos to make and not a lot of time, it can be really tempting to just try to put the hot sauce on everything, just kind of, flip the switch and let it crank out a video. But with many AI video tools, this is what you get is kind of a big mess. And you may be able to crank out a video in a matter of minutes, and you may be able to get something that's shiny or spicy in this case. But that doesn't mean it's worth watching. And like I said, it can just be kind of a mess. This is particularly evident in training videos, and what's often missing in AI generated training videos are the things like your expert knowledge, your company's specific workflows, the why behind each click, and really the things that you know, like the part of the process that always trips people up. And that kind of thing cannot be found in Wikipedia. AI can't replicate that critical human-led context on its own. And so this idea is what led to our development of what we're calling the human framework in AI training videos. We aren't going to go really deep into this today, but I wanted to share it because it's what drives our research that we're about to share. You can use the QR code on the screen to learn more, and we'll also have these links up later, so don't worry if you capture them right now. But just real quick, I want to run through this. So the human is harness your expertise, understand your audience, make it authentic, not artificial, aim for better, not just faster. And that one is really kind of ties everything together. It's when we aim for just faster that we get into trouble. And the last one ends for never skip reviews, which is always important, but especially important with AI. Anyway, so that's just some of the context to kind of set us up for today. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Stephanie to discuss our research into AI voice and avatar usage in training videos.
Great. Thank you, Dave. So I wanted to share that most recently in September and October of last year, we surveyed over 700 people from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. Now, these people were non-customers, which means they were not specifically customers of Camtasia or TechSmith or Snagit, which are some of the other products we make. These people were professionals who had watched an instructional video in the last 30 days. So think about these as your viewers of the videos that you're creating. We showed them basically one short video on how to use Google Advanced Search. This video was short, it's 43 seconds long, and then we asked them to answer 11 questions after that about that video. Just overall, to find a little bit more out about this research and read the full report, please feel free to click the link that Dave will share just in this next slide. Click the link in our slides, or you can go ahead and scan this QR code to view the published blog post, which will include most of the data from the research. And I know we'll be sending this out after, so if you miss it right now, it's no big deal. But what I do want to talk through is kind of the 4 versions of the video. Now, just a reminder, the screen content showing how to use Google Advanced Search was exactly the same for all 4 videos, only the voiceover changed. So there were 4 versions, the first being a poor quality human voice. So the voice was kind of fuzzy, there was some background noise, you could tell that the speaker was kind of far away from the microphone. Then there was a professional quality human voiceover. So this was very crisp, no background noise. You could tell the person was speaking directly into a microphone close to their mouth. It just sounded very, very crispy. The third is a plain AI voiceover, which sounded slightly robotic. It was kind of what you think of when you think of a plain or poor quality AI video. It's kind of monotone. There wasn't any word emphasis. It just kind of sounded like a robot. Then finally, there was a premium AI voiceover, which had human-like elements, word emphasis, pauses. You could actually hear, the intake of breath, but it was also clear with no crisp. It was also clear and crisp with no background noise. So what I'd like to do now is share with you a montage of all 4 of these videos. So just a reminder, each participant in the survey only saw one of these videos. So they had no comparison, but obviously to get the idea across to you all, I do want to share all 4 of them. So you're having a more robust picture than our survey participants did, but hopefully the sound is working on this with our technical issue here. But I just want to share, Dave's going to go ahead and roll this video of all 4.
Yeah, and Emma, let me know if I can try to reshare. I just didn't have the option to check the box to share sound here.
Yeah, try ending this share and starting it up again, and it should allow you to share sound as well.
Perfect.
I hope.
That. Just a second. It looks like I have the option now, so this is looking good. Thank you for taking care of that, and we should be seeing the screen pop back up momentarily. All right, good to go there. I'm going to go ahead and just as all set up. So as Stephanie mentioned, you're going to hear quick clips of each of the four different types of voices here.
Google search results can be a bit much.
Sorry about that. I'm going to try
A
that
simple
one more
question
time.
like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases.
Google's advanced search solves this. To begin, type in your search as you normally would. Go over to the Tools menu and choose Advanced Search.
Your search query will show up at the top. You can add additional terms, such as toddlers. Scroll down the page to domain. To see only research findings from universities, type in .edu.
Finally, click Advanced Search. When reviewing the search results, you might find more trustworthy answers from, say, the Cancer Center at the University of Utah than from Amazon.
Google search results can be a bit.
Great. Thank you, Dave. So now what we'd like to do at this point in our presentation is do a quick poll. And if you're familiar, this will pop up right in Zoom as I'm talking, and you can kind of vote with what you think. So the first question that we asked in this survey was right after the video. And what the question, I'll set it up a little bit here if you'd like to just listen before you choose. But basically what we asked, we presented a question, which is, this video was professionally produced. And we asked each participant to rate that on a scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And what I'm going to show in this poll is, and what I'm going to show in the data also, is what we call kind of the top two box. So what that means is the top two positive ends of the scale. So in this situation, that's all the people that chose agree and all the people that chose strongly agree. So just combine those two. So what I'd like you to think about is, which of these videos do you think yielded the highest percentage of people who said agree or strongly agree? And you'll see that hopefully right on the poll right in front of you here. I'll just give you a few more seconds to fill it out. But basically, what video do you think had the highest percentage of people agree or strongly agree that this video was professionally produced? So we have poor human voiceover, pro human voiceover, plain AI voiceover, and premium AI voiceover. So we can probably give that just another second. Emma, you can end it whenever. It looks like we have a pretty good number of people that have chosen now.
All right, I'm going to end it and then I'll share the results so everyone
That'd
can
be
see.
fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so I think it looks like everyone can see the results now. I assume I can see them. So overall, it looks like you all felt that the premium AI voiceover had the highest percentage of people who viewed this video as professionally produced. And if Dave will go to the next slide, you should see, oh wait, maybe, okay, let me just get this poll off my screen now. You will see that you all were right. Fantastic. So it was true that the highest percentage of people who felt that the video was professionally produced viewed the premium AI voiceover question. And this is one of maybe my favorite data points from the whole survey. The results are so clear. As the quality of the voice increases, you can see from the left to the right, from the human voice quality increase and then to the AI voice quality increase, the viewers more strongly feel that the video is professionally produced. And of all the viewers that viewed video number 4, which was the premium AI voice, 92% felt that the video was professionally produced. Now, this tells us that for instructional videos, audio really matters. You can see the difference clearly between, what we saw as the poor quality human voice all the way up to the premium quality AI voice. Our recommendation is to avoid a poor human voiceover. A plain AI voiceover can actually perform as well as the professional human voiceover. Now, this next question we asked was, we call this kind of your can you identify AI question. So we asked them if the video that they viewed used an AI voice or not. And something I didn't mention in the beginning, but I do want to remind everyone, is that these people could not go back into the survey and watch the video again. They didn't get a second shot once we said, okay, now we're obviously talking about AI voices in this survey. We did not allow them to go back and view it so they could say, oh yeah, I could definitely tell that's AI. They had one shot at the video and then went to the questions. So we asked them basically, did this video use an AI voice or not? And we found out is that it is not easy to tell whether a professional sounding voice was AI generated or a professional human voiceover. It was not obvious when a good AI voice, a good human voice or even a bad human voice was used, but it was obvious when a bad or low quality AI voice was used. So only 23 and 28% respectively correctly identified the human or the AI voice in the premium end of each video. And what that tells you is think about the alternative. That's like 77%, 77 to 72% actually were not sure or got this question incorrect. And Dave has flipped over the graph here so you guys can see all the data here. So to take a look at all the results, the bar that you can see, which is very clear, even if you're far away and your screen's small and just squinting, you can see that green bar in the third set of data is the highest one, 72%. That is the low quality AI voice, which 72% of viewers correctly identified as being an AI voice. Now, you all probably, as you were watching this whole montage, were like, of course, I can tell it was AI. It sounded like a robot. Also, I set you up. This sounded like a robot. But remember, these people saw this one shot, one and only. They heard 43 seconds of one voice, and that was it. So what this tells us here is that it's easy to spot a poor quality AI voice. The rest of the bars on the other videos are pretty fragmented, right? Some of them were correct in their assumption, some of them were incorrect in their assumption, and actually many of them were unsure. But the most clear thing we found here is that a poor quality AI voice is easy to spot. Now, in thinking about recognizing AI, the takeaway from this, can you identify AI question, is that when the audio is high quality, it's difficult for viewers to know whether the voice is human or AI. When the audio quality is poor, AI really sticks out like a sore thumb. So our recommendation is that if you have to make a financial decision, a time decision, maybe a resource or bandwidth decision about whether or not to use a premium AI voice or a premium human voice, it's really not going to impact the professionalism of your video since those two are rated very highly. But if you go ahead and default to a plain or a poor quality AI voice, that can really pull back the curtain on your usage of AI. Now, if that's what you want, if you want people to be able to know that you used an AI voice, proceed. But if not, that's kind of going to be what I would call a dead giveaway that you did use AI. So our advice as we talk through this throughout is to, number one, know your audience and their enthusiasm or hesitancy for AI in videos. And number two, be mindful of the message that you're actually delivering, as AI is really not a blanket approach to all videos. I have a couple more things to share here, and this is first is the regional differences. So as I mentioned, we surveyed people from the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. And looking at these regional differences, we asked participants how more or less willing they are to watch AI videos this year compared to last year. So this question basically aimed to identify whether instructional video viewers were becoming more enthusiastic or more hesitant to view AI videos. Our viewers in the US were least willing of all regions to view more AI videos. In fact, actually slightly less than half were more willing, which means that more than half were less willing. Canada and Australia were tied with 57% more willing to watch AI video this year. And then finally, 62% of our UK audience was more willing to watch AI video this year. So these differences may seem slight, but knowing your audience and their thoughts towards AI can help you build instructional videos that they actually want to watch. Now, finally, this was what we call our pop quiz question. So we would actually see if they could answer a question that we answered in creating the video. So after searching on Google, where do you go to find advanced search? And I mentioned this before, but they could not go back, rewatch the video. So they had to remember from watching the video, 5 to 8 minutes earlier in the survey, where to go to find advanced search. So the takeaway from this data point is that high quality AI voices actually showed the highest learning comprehension. You can see that by kind of the light green bar on all the way on the right. So with a slight exception for that little dip in the low quality human voice at 65%, the increase in comprehension actually increased as the quality of the voice increased. So you can kind of see the bars going up, from bottom left to upper right. You see those light green bars on the screen. With overall those great conclusions from our AI voice study, I would like to now turn it over to Dave to talk a little bit more about what we learned from the AI avatar portion of this study about instructional videos.
Thanks, Stephanie. So as Stephanie mentioned, after we completed this voice research, we thought, well, this went really well. So let's try and run the same thing, but with a focus on AI avatars and also comparing them to real human presenters and videos. So we tested 5 different variants. Each of those use the same content from the research you just saw, this exact same screen content, exact same script, and literally the exact same audio tracks. We only use the high quality human voice to go with any human camera or human visual, and then we only use the high quality AI voice from the prior study for the AI variants of this. And so here are the 5 variants we tested. I'm going to give you kind of a quick walkthrough of them, and then we'll see a video just like we saw with Stephanie. So the first one is a human voice and an audio visualizer. And you might want to pay attention to this one because it's probably the least familiar to you. So what it is, I'll turn my laser pointer on here so we can see it. It's a static image. So this is actually our boss, Troy, who made the video. This is a static photo of him. And when we play the video back, you'll see these bars dance along with the audio. So that's the audio visualization. Anyway, that's the first one you'll see. And then the next one is human voice, again, but just with picture-in-picture camera. So this is a video of Troy. And then we move on to the next one, human voice plus full screen. Again, you've just got exact same clip, but bigger part of the screen. And then the AI variants, we go to the smaller picture-in-picture. This is a synthetic avatar. Now, it's important to note that we use realistic human avatars for this test. I know there are cartoons and character avatars out there, and that would be at a whole different variable entirely that we did not test here. And then, with that said, the last one we tested, again, same avatar, but just a bigger size full screen. So let's do the same thing we did before and take a look. You can see a small clip of each of these to get a feel for what they look like. And again, remember to check out the audio visualizer, that first one, so you can get a feel for what that is.
Google search results can be a bit much. Sometimes a simple search like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases. Google search results can be a bit much. Sometimes a simple search like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases. Google search results can be a bit much. Sometimes a simple search like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases.
Google search results can be a bit much. A simple question like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases. Google search results can be a bit much. A simple question like, what is the best sunscreen, is full of ads and profit-driven biases.
And yes, Stephanie and I are hearing Google search results can be a bit much in our dreams, in our nightmares. So I think that's the last time you'll hear it today. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. So just like with the last one, again, we're going to see a similar pattern from the AI voices looking at the avatars here. We're going to start right where Stephanie started off and look at the how professional the perception of these videos was from participants. And not just yet, but we will be running a poll on this one. The first question after viewing the video, we asked them, or we presented with the prompt, this video was professionally produced, and then participants were asked how much they agreed or disagreed with the statement. Stephanie talked about this earlier, but this is the same top 2 box where we're looking for people that were on the positive end of the scale where they said they either agree or strongly agree that the video was professionally produced. So to set up our poll here, the question we're asking you is, what video do you think had the highest percentage of people agree or strongly agree that it was professionally produced? And you can see the variance up here too. So you can go ahead and run the poll now. Popped up on my screen, so I'm guessing it's popping up on your screens as well. And I know for me, I can move it around if it's covering up the options. But again, you can go and see those in the background if you're curious. But I see the results are rolling in.
Let's give it like 15 more seconds.
Sounds good.
All right, get your answers in. I'm going to close it up. All right, there are the results.
All right, so let's take a look at the results. It looks like at the top we have the 2 avatars coming in, and your choices looks like results were spread pretty good, low for the audio visualizer, but kind of spread out throughout. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down, and we will see the actual results here. So we'll see, and the winner is everybody. While both the AI avatars came out at 95%, it was really close across the board. So I'm going to say that no matter what you picked in this poll, you're right. I'd also like to call out how well the audio visualizer performed. What's interesting about this one to me is it really requires a very small investment. And we're going to get deeper into the investment level for each of these in just a minute, but I wanted to mention that here. But before we do that, I want to compare these to the results that Stephanie shared earlier for just the voiceovers. So this is interesting because again, everything is the same. Well, that's what's kind of cool about this. And what we're seeing here is that all the videos with some form of what we'll call a visual presenter, whether human or AI, all AI, all of these either are slightly outperformed or were on par with the voiceover alone by not much, but not by much. And so that not by much is kind of interesting, and that's where I want to get into investment levels here. So I've rated these a little bit, and I think it's important to think about that investment level to achieve these. As we think about the human ones here, that's really a high level of investment. When you're on camera and recording audio, it's harder to edit out mistakes. If you record part of it in the morning and part of it in the evening, you might sound or look a little bit different. You probably have to invest in lighting and all kinds of things. So think of that as a high investment add-on. Moving over here to the avatars, I call these medium investment because it's not as much time to get these going, but still some time to research tools and do some editing. But where they do have a higher investment is you are going to have to pay for these if you want high quality. You can certainly find some for free, but they're likely to be the kind that that are pretty easy to spot out in the wild and will likely not perform super well. I do have a lot of bias towards this audio visualizer because as someone that makes videos, this is the one I choose to use pretty often when I'm doing internal research share out. So, Stephanie and I would do research like this, and we'd make a video to share the results with our company. I like this because I have a headshot. That part's already done, and I can just drag an effect onto it. And this, for us anyway, is also in a lower tier of Camtasia, our own product that we use to make videos. So it's a much lower investment. Some of these other ones involve higher levels. So I think it's important, just some important considerations to think about um, as you're assessing some of these. And so we've been really focused on this question of is this professionally produced? And it's great to make videos that are professionally produced. And so that is important, but it also doesn't mean that your videos are actually helping your audience learn. So I want to jump back into the quiz question again, not the quiz for you, but the pop quiz for the participants in our survey, where just like Stephanie showed earlier with voices, where we find out did these presenters actually impact learning? And again, this is the one where we ask them the question, basically the quiz of after searching in Google, where do you go next to find advanced search? And for the most part, the numbers were pretty consistent. You can see the pip and avatar were outperforming the others the avatar pip kind of outperformed the others by a surprising margin. Felt like a little bit of an outlier here. But the results were also pretty similar to the variants that had no visual presenters. And we thought there might be some potential for the presence of the presenters, again, whether human or AI, to kind of distract from the content, especially the larger ones. You can see here in the little windows that, the actual screen content gets really minimized with these bigger ones. And overall, we didn't see a real negative impact there. But if we are just comparing the avatar picture in picture to avatar full, we do see significantly better performance for the avatar picture in picture. But ultimately, across the board, it wasn't as conclusive as we would like to have seen. But we have seen some other evidence, and we also hear from our customers that they tend to let their content be the star of the show. And that's sort of related to that. One of the best practices we hear a lot from our own customers is if they want some kind of visual presenter in there, is start off the video maybe with that bigger, the presenter, again, whether human or AI, might be a larger full screen, introducing the content, get the stage set, and then once you get into your main content, either slide that down into a smaller picture in picture or remove it entirely and let the main content, whether it's screen recording or slides, be the center of attention after that. One of the other things that we wanted to test here was the participants' ability to detect and identify the AI avatars. And we looked at this for voices earlier too. What we're seeing here, the purple bars are showing how many people correctly identified each element. You can see those bars are actually kind of low across the board. And the orange bars indicate how many were unsure. And before we jump into this, I'm going to remove the audio visualizer. I had the results on there, but I think we want to ignore this because it's not something that people are typically super familiar with, and they probably weren't sure how to respond, whether this was an avatar or not. So I'm just going to drop that from there. Beyond that, nearly all the participants either correctly identified or were unsure when it comes to the human options. You can see if we do the top two boxes here, 94% for the PIP and 98% were or correctly identified it. But we had a really different story when we move over to this side and look at the AI options. Participants struggled. Nearly 60% were unsure for the picture-in-picture, and then the remaining were either split between guessing correctly or incorrectly there. And then when we move over to the full screen avatar, we had actually had more people guess incorrectly, that guess that it was a human than guess that it was AI, but still a really large chunk of people coming back as unsure. And this is interesting because I think this is a pretty dramatic departure from what we would have seen a year ago, or maybe even, less than that, where the expectation was generally that it was pretty easy to detect an AI voice or avatar. It would be robotic, like some of the earlier ones we showed as the low quality examples. So it just shows how fast all this is moving. Next, we wanted to examine the perceived quality of the avatars. And before looking at these numbers, it's important to keep in mind that we only asked this question of people that correctly identified the avatars as AI. Everyone else was either tricked or they thought it was close enough that they were unsure, so they already sort of have, through their actions, determined it as, or ranked it as high quality. So what's interesting about this is you can see a really clear connection between the size of the avatar and the perceived quality. Again, going back to these top two boxes here, the smaller avatar was perceived to be either good or excellent by a combined 72% of participants. But then when we move over to the larger avatar taking up a big chunk of the screen, only 55% put that in the top two boxes there. So our prior questions have focused on using avatars in a training video, and more specifically, a generic training video where the audience likely has no connection to the creator of the video, like something you might find on YouTube. And as based, you've seen what we've shared. Our data has found these to be pretty well received by the audience, but we also wanted to put this in context and put it up against some other video types to get a feel for the perceived appropriateness of the avatars in other types of videos. So we asked the participants this question up here. Speaking of my professional life, I'd find it acceptable to receive an avatar-based video on the following subject matters. And we're going to bring back our old friends here for a scale, our robot friends, and we'll plot on a scale from up at the top, hot sauce on eggs, down here to hot sauce on chocolate chip pancakes. I also acknowledge that I am tempting fate by using AI to generate images to make fun of AI. This is probably going to come back with my Alexa flashing my lights on and off in the middle of the night or something worse. But anyway, so we've got this scale here. Up at the top, we can see that our screen-based training video performed pretty well. Again, what we're looking at, people are generally accepting of this. But as we move down the list and we kind of get into the chocolate chip pancakes area here, we start to see a bit of a pattern. And one of those common threads is this is content that's likely created by a colleague or a leader in your organization. And it feels like the more we know the person or the more personal the information is to us, we start to show a stronger aversion to the AI. This makes total sense to me because I remember this actually happening to me. Now, mentioned we work at a software company that makes video software. And so we were pretty early on when in the whole AI video thing where our colleagues started using AI voices and avatars. And sometimes it felt a little bit weird and different, and it wasn't what I was used to, but I also understood that it saved a lot of time, and it was kind of cool to see those videos popping up. But there was one particular video that I remember where the message really fell flat to me because the content was more emotional. It wasn't just like a here's some information kind of share. It was the goal of the video was more to be motivational and inspire. And I remember feeling like the impact was kind of lost. I kind of remember feeling my shoulders kind of slump, hearing the AI voice and seeing that, and just wanting to hear the voice of the person behind the message. And so We've been sharing a lot of positive things, some good results for these AI training videos, but it's really important to not just apply those to any other type of video. The type and the context really matters. So that brings me back to really why I'm sharing that story and brings us back to the human framework here. Because your mileage will definitely vary when you try to apply this to other types of videos. So as the human framework says here, you're the expert in your own content. Most importantly, you know the audience. So I think we want to make sure you're trusting your gut and running small experiments before making wholesale changes and doing things that could do some damage with your relationship with your audience. We've got a little wrap up now, but I do want to open up the floor for questions now. So Emma, if anything has come through, that's all of our main content there. After questions, we will share that QR code and link to get back to one of our blog posts that has pretty much everything shared in here, really deep research results and some analysis, as well as a link back to the human framework. But so that said, Emma, do we have any questions from the audience? I think it looks like we have a couple minutes.
Yeah, your team has been really great in answering them in the chat. Um, it might be worth saying out loud though. There was a question about changing the tone of the avatar, like if you want a warm tone or professional or excited, and how they perform with hard to pronounce words.
Yep, and that will definitely vary based on your tool. I've heard our customers talking a lot about that tone, and that's one thing that's really cool now because again, doing this a year or two ago, you kind of got one tone, and so you can imagine, a video sharing maybe like negative, let's say it's the quarterly fiscal results and things weren't great. You probably don't want a super excited, enthusiastic presenter saying like, "Hey, everybody, we just lost a bunch of money." So that's one thing that's cool now in different tools. And one thing maybe to look for is if you have some of those, the ability to adjust the tone to the speaker. So that's definitely a good point.
Dolores wants to know what made you want to test this hypothesis?
I think for us, and Stephanie, you can jump in too, but uh, we have been making software that allows people to make training videos for a long time, a lot longer than we've been in AI. Camtasia's been out since around 2000, and introducing AI into the product introduces a lot of new questions and variables for us, and we don't want to do things that are going to cause our customers to create problems for themselves. So we want to do this in a responsible way. And so this is part of our way of making sure we're understanding the impact of this. And so we'll continue to do other things like this. So, but it was really just to make sure we have this context. And so when we learn these things, we can share them with our own customers. So they're, using the tools for good versus for evil, so to speak.
Yeah, this is another interesting question. Did you ask any questions in your survey about how the respondents felt about AI? The next question from Dolores is, does this test score among people with negative outlooks on AI? And they love TechSmith's products, by the way.
Thank you.
I'll answer that. I see that in the chat, Dolores. And we did not ask a general, what I would call like a general AI sentiment question in this survey. We have in the past. We did probably about a year ago, maybe more now, maybe 18 months ago. And I would love to do that again because I think so much has changed with AI in the last, I mean, really 6 months. But thinking about that 18 months ago, if there were, I believe, if I remember correctly, there were more people that were hesitant than were, excited, kind of the negative emotion towards it. I think that if we would do it now, people would be more excited about it. But I know that another a researcher at our organization is planning to run a study, and I'm really hoping that we have plans to publish or share that in some way because I know he has questions in there just asking about general outlook on AI, basically in their work life and in their personal life. So I would love to compare those. They're not directly compared, but I'm hoping that we can share those wider than just with our own employees.
Yeah. And one other note on that too, that's interesting. I think it's a tricky question to ask because a lot of people have built their perception obviously based on what they've seen, and a lot of people think AI videos and they think that pure AI where everything is AI generated. I think of the videos, that pop up that my kids watch on YouTube, and it's just clearly like someone said, make a video of all the Marvel characters as dogs and it's just like all purely generated. There is no human element into it. So it can be hard if people are comparing that to a training video that is built by a human, that has context and is using AI elements in it. And so that's something that we think about a lot when we're trying to figure out how to measure this. But we also know we're going up against that um, larger negative sentiment from what people have been exposed to.
I have a few more. Should we disclose when AI voices or avatars are used?
I think kind of
That's
tricky. My personal opinion would be, sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say yes, probably. I think that our recommendation would be to suggest, as I mentioned this earlier before, is knowing your audience and making sure that whatever message you're delivering and you know your audience and you say, is this the type of audience that would appreciate or be upset if I did not disclose that this was AI. I think this also depends on how much AI is used in the video. Like Dave mentioned that example of his kids watching that video that's obviously like 100% AI generated. It's obvious, but that whole thing. But in an example where there is just one element that was created with AI, or like in this presentation, Dave mentioned that he used AI to create some of the imagery for that. Rather than drawing and designing that himself. So there's a little bit of variability there, but I think if you're not sure, err on the side of yes. That's at least my recommendation. I don't know if you have to say something else about that, Dave, but.
No, that's perfect.
All right. What is the biggest risk of using AI voice in training today, and what mistakes do teams make when adopting AI too quickly?
I will say that, I mean, I'll go back to that mistake that I've seen, and is not matching, not really understanding the impact on the audience. I think it's hard to answer this directly unless you're really looking at a specific type of video. And I point back to that relationship between the creator and the audience. Like when I'm making internal videos and with our size of the company, I know people might know me, and there is a difference between seeing me and seeing an avatar. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. But it is different if you are, creating a video for an external audience that, especially if you're thinking about voices, um, and if what we're trying to do is deliver a complete set of training content to our audience, we want to get them as much information as possible. What a lot of people are likely running into, and what we're hearing is like, with AI voices, I could create 10 videos and have all that content out there for customers, or I could create 5 videos as me and going through all the extra work of that and having my own voice. Which of those two outcomes is better for your audience? And that's something that is going to be tricky, right? But I think that's the kind of math that you do. But I think if you're really thinking about, are we delivering the best possible product overall to our audience, that will drive you towards the right decision. That might have been a two-part question. I know, was that just one part of it?
That was great. That was perfect. Why do you think the picture-in-picture avatars perform better than the full screen avatars?
I think for training videos, it just makes a ton of sense, especially when specifically like software technology training where there's screen content. I was about to say screen content in the background, but that's the exact issue. Bringing that larger avatar really minimizes the content, and I think everything we've seen suggests like if you're trying to show someone how to do something, um, get out of the way and let that content be the star of the show. It also gives you more space to annotate and really point them and focus attention because I think that's one of the biggest challenges or one of the most important things there is that you're properly focusing their attention. And if the thing you want them to be seeing is tiny and the thing that you don't really care about them seeing as much is giant, then you're likely not doing yourself or your audience any favors.
Right. And this is just an interesting comment from Vicky. This is reflective of Clark and Mayer's work on avatars, impacts, learning versus photos. If done well, learners don't care. And I think that's an interesting point. Whether
Yeah,
it's
I'd say that
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just going to say, I'd say that our research agrees with that, right? We're saying, okay, so we have this premium human voice and this premium AI voice, and they perform the same. People couldn't really tell the difference, nor were they, bothered necessarily by the difference. So if it's done well, it's all good. It's when it's done poorly that you start getting into issues. I would agree.
And Emma, if we have more questions, I just wanted to get this up there so the QR code was up for, not just up for 2 seconds as we're wrapping up, but
Yeah, that's great. That is all the questions that we have. We're just about out of time. Like I said, your team is great, answered a lot of the questions that were in the chat. And I'm sure the Camtasia team would love to hear from y'all attendees if you still have questions. I'm sure you can reach out to them.
all right. Well, I think that's it for us. I'd just like to thank you all so much for your time. As I mentioned before, this single QR code will get you to the details on the research, which within that post again has the link to the human framework and all the content that we covered today. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks again to our sponsors, our speakers, and thanks to all of our attendees for being so active and participating in this session. We have a 15-minute break up next, and then we'll hear from Jennifer and Adam from Neovation Learning. Their session is called Design Faster, Think Deeper, AI Workflows Built for Real L&D Work. So take this 15 minutes, take a quick break, and we'll see you right back here at the top of the hour. You can join the next session by going to your Zoom events lobby and clicking on Join the Next Session button. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.